Located between Paris, Brussels and Cologne, today we are going to visit the palaces of Luxembourg. Welcome back, or welcome if it's the first time you are watching one of my videos. So today we are going to visit Luxembourg, officially the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, and we are going to take a really fast pick on the palaces, the most famous palaces in Luxembourg. But first, let's talk about the state. So, Luxembourg is a country, officially is the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, is a microstate in Western Europe, completely surrounded by countries like Belgium, Germany and France. And there is a term for a country that is completely surrounded by other countries, and actually there are just 49 countries in the world that are completely surrounded by countries, and this term is landlocked. Okay? So together with Brussels, Frankfurt and Strasbourg, Luxembourg City, the capital of this country, is one of the four official capital of the European Union. If you didn't know yet, Luxembourg is one of the smallest sovereign state in Europe. In fact, is probably the third last smallest country of Europe. And it's a representative democracy with a constitutional monarch that is headed by the Grand Duke Henry, that is the sovereign of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. And yes, it's a really developed country, and actually one of the world's richest, not just European, one of the richest in Europe, but in the world. And many places, even in this, even if the country is really small, are declared UNESCO World Heritage Site. The history of Luxembourg is considered to be starting in the 10th century, when Count Siegfried got this promontory with a castle on it, and then his descendants they increased the territory through marriage, through war and vassal relationship, and in the 13th century the counts of Luxembourg were that important and that famous that Henry the Seventh, Count of Luxembourg, became king of the Germans and later of the Holy Roman Empire. So the House of Luxembourg became from going from the Count of Luxembourg, now it became a Duchy of Luxembourg. Luxembourg is a founding member of the European Union, United Nations and NATO, and Benelux, if you know what is it. If you don't, it is actually it's just a political, economical union between the three countries, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Netherlands. So, due to this fact, the city of Luxembourg, actually the main city of this micro country, and of course the largest, and of course the capital, is the seat for several institutional agency, and served as the United Nations Security Council. Other things important for Luxembourg is the site of the European Court of Justice and the European Court of Auditors. And so let's get to talk a little bit about the capital, Luxembourg City. That it is actually the capital, biggest city, most wealthy city, and of course the majority of administrative, political, cultural and art are all in this city. The city has around 120,000 people as a population, and is like 3 times bigger than the second city, and is about a fifth of the country by population. Luxembourg is one, as I told before, of the European Union. So there is the seat of the several institutions, agency, and bodies of the European Union, as for example the European Parliament, the European Investment Bank, the European Investment Fund, the European Stability Mechanism, and some others less important European agencies. If you didn't know, Luxembourg City is divided in 24 quarters, which cover the commune in its entirety. And Luxembourg City also holds a few of the historic districts, such as Bonbois, are divided between 2 quarters, and that is actually a little bit strange. So, despite the cities and the country size, actually there are several notable museums in Luxembourg City. For example, the National Museums of History and Art, the Luxembourg City History Museums, the Grand Ducal Jean Museums of Modern Art, and not for mistake, it was nominated by the UNESCO World Heritage list. The city itself, not just some buildings or some, I don't know, like walls, protected walls, defensive wall, all the city itself. But what if you don't like museums? What should I visit in Luxembourg? Well, there are many others places of interest. For example, we have the Cathedral of Notre Dame, that is restylished in Gothic styles, Gothic revival styles. We have the Gelfra. I don't know if the pronunciations is correct. The Neumasters Abbey, place stars, and of course the Luxembourg Palace and the Grand Ducal Palace that we are going to visit now. So the Grand Ducal Palace, it is a palace in Luxembourg City, in the southern part of Luxembourg, and it is the official residence of the Grand Duke of Luxembourg, and it actually it performs the duty as head of the state in here for the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. building was first the city hall of Luxembourg, and then became the seat of the prefecture of the department of the forest, and then it was used by the Prince Harry during his time as a lieutenant representative of Luxembourg, and then it became the home for the Grand Ducal William III and his wife Grand Duchess Emma. Later on it was conquered by the Germans, conquered back by French, and came under different governments in the First and Second World War, and then finally it became the Grand Ducal Guard, mounted ceremonial guard duties at the palace. Today it is, as I told you, the official Grand Duke residence, and it is used as a formal palace for I don't know, like international variety of meetings. So there isn't really much to say about this palace and in general Luxembourg, because it's like a really small country, and where all the wealth is located in one place, and yes, if you should visit the place, because actually it's really nice. It's well acquired with the natures, with also there is, maybe in your picture you didn't see, but there is also a modern part of Luxembourg, and yeah, it's really nice to visit because you can see the European style that actually you go around Europe and you see everywhere, but you can also see a little bit of modern European style. And in Luxembourg, aside from the sea, you can find everything in it. So this was a really fast tour of Luxembourg City and the Grand Ducal Palace. And so I will leave you as always with let's build together a better world. See you next week.